Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 3 recipes featuring tofu. I'll have all the measurements written out in the description box, and I'll also have a link to a playlist of all the tofu recipes I've recorded on this channel over the past couple of years if you're looking for some more ideas. So I hope that you enjoy. Let's start out with the summer rolls. Take a block of firm or extra firm tofu and slice it into thin strips. You can use the tofu as is, but I like to brown it first on a griddle or non-stick skillet. Usually I'll just season it with a pinch of salt and pepper, or sometimes I will baste it with barbecue sauce. That's a nice way to mix it up, add some extra flavor. Then I'll set it aside to cool while I prep the rest of my ingredients. You can use any vegetables you like, but my go-to combination is usually carrots, cucumbers, lettuce, and avocado. Just peel the cucumber and cut it into thin strips, and then I'll usually use my mandolin slicer to julienne my carrot just to make things quick and easy. And then I rinse my romaine lettuce and cut the leaves into about the length that I want my summer rolls to be. Then the avocado, just cut into thin strips. This one was actually pretty underripe, but I still added it because what is a summer roll without avocado, in my opinion? I personally love to add lots of fresh herbs to mine, so I use mint, Thai basil, and cilantro, but if you're someone who hates cilantro, feel free to leave that out, or just use the herbs you like, or you can leave them out altogether. The rolls will still be super tasty. And to make things easier, I like to chop my herbs up and mix them so I can just sprinkle them into my rolls all at once. After I prep all my ingredients, I take a second to just clean up, organize them all, and you can see I've also cooked some thin rice noodles. Then I rinse them with cold water so they're chilled when I add them into my rolls. Dip my rice paper wraps in water until they're just slightly softened. Add a little bit of each ingredient in a strip. I have been making these for years, but I'm still no expert at rolling them. But the good thing is they taste amazing no matter how they look. I will have a recipe in the description box for an easy peanut dipping sauce, but you can also use sweet chili dipping sauce or just any of your favorite dipping sauces. Now let's move on to the red curry soup. As with a lot of my recipes, you can use any of your favorite vegetables in this soup. On this particular day, I just so happened to use some broccoli florets, some sliced red bell pepper, picked up some enoki mushrooms from the Asian market, some baby corn, and I chopped up some carrots. I also chose to use soft tofu this time around. You can add it to your soup as it is, but I actually really enjoy browning it a bit first, and soft tofu can be very fragile, so if you choose to do this step, just make sure to use a non-stick skillet, add a little bit of oil, and flip it very gently to keep it from turning to mush. I cook mine for about 10 minutes in total. I flip it every so often until it's browned evenly, and then I set it aside while I prep the rest of my soup. I combined some vegetable broth with coconut milk and a few tablespoons of red curry paste. You can find this at most Asian markets. Just make sure to check the ingredients because a lot of Thai curries include shrimp or fish ingredients. Also, it'll vary brand to brand how spicy and how salty it is, so just taste as you go. I like to add sliced onions first and simmer them until they're tender, just for a few minutes, and then I add in my other vegetables in stages depending on which take longest to cook. So I added the broccoli first, simmer for a few minutes in between each addition. I like to add my red peppers last because I do like them to stay a little bit crisp and not get super mushy. And the last thing I add back in is my browned tofu, or if you prefer to use the soft tofu without browning it first, you'd add it in at this point and just warm it through. Next, I ladle the soup into a bowl over some prepared rice noodles. These are actually leftovers from the spring rolls. And this soup would also be good served over rice if you prefer that. Comment down below, are you a rice or a noodle person? I love both, but if I have to pick between the two, like if I'm at a restaurant, I'm usually on team noodle. I serve the soup with a wedge of lime and some green onions. The last recipe is bang bang tofu. It's so good. Just start out by cubing some firm or extra firm tofu, and you'll then toss it into about half a cup of all-purpose flour seasoned with a bit of salt and pepper. Feel free to sub cornstarch or another gluten-free flour if necessary. Then once your tofu is coated in flour, you're gonna dip it into some unsweetened plain plant milk and then transfer it into a bowl with panko breadcrumbs. Again, if you're gluten-free, I have used rice panko crumbs many times, and honestly, it's just as good as the wheat variety. Toss your tofu in the crumbs until it's coated, and I recommend doing this last step one or a few cubes at a time. I find if I just dump all of the wet tofu into the crumbs at once, they get soggy and then it doesn't stick as well to the tofu. You will arrange your breaded tofu cubes on a lined baking tray, and you'll bake it in a preheated oven until they're slightly browned. And this recipe would also work great in an air fryer if you have one. Once your tofu's cooked and crispy, you will toss it in a mixture of vegan mayo and sriracha. Add as much sriracha as you like depending on how spicy you like things, which is quite a bit for me. Or you can really toss these in any of your favorite sauces, whether that's sweet chili sauce or teriyaki or barbecue or buffalo. The breaded tofu is just a really good blank slate for any flavors. I recommend tossing the tofu back in the oven for another 5 or so minutes just to heat it back through with the sauce, and then serve it. I know the mayo and sriracha combo is not super healthy, but I'm a mayo fiend. It's so tasty, and it really reminds me of something you get in takeout, but it's not fried, so that's a plus. That is it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below. What is your favorite way to use tofu? And also let me know if you try out any of these recipes, and I will see you very soon. Bye.